Okay, you want to do your own thing. You want to get out of the shadow, so to speak, of Steph Curry. Voila, the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets give you the keys to the kingdom per se. You can call. You have all the power. You want to root. Who do you want? Who do you want to play with? We play with Kyrie Irving. Okay, we're getting Kyrie Irving, despite the fact that he had just despite the fact that a franchise got better without him. In terms of the Boston Celtics, their players, they went to the conference finals without him in 2018, and he played miserably in 2019 in the playoffs against Milwaukee, losing in 5 games. But we still one of the top point guards in the league, still very young. He's your guy. You can have him. Cool. You want who you want? Who you want to? If a team goes for a made-up super team or a super team that's just manufactured versus stability versus continuity, and I'm sticking to that. Boston right now has stability. Boston right now has continuity. They don't need Kevin Durant. They don't. And again, if I'm going to make the move to get Kevin Durant, I'm doing it on my terms. I remember when I used to play fantasy football, and we used to do trades, and every trade I would make, just about, I made a couple of bad ones, but majority of trades I made were trades to not only help my team, but trades to hurt your organization because I was trying to win. I didn't make fair. I made one bad trade my whole fantasy football career. One bad one that I still regret. That probably cost me a championship the first year I started. Actually, one of the first years I started playing fantasy football. What are our predictions for the Nets and the Sixers moving forward? What does this produce? Does one of these teams win a championship? Does one of these teams even get to the finals in the next 2 years? What do we foresee happening?
We have to talk about the human factors first.
Yep.
Because I can't
assuming everybody's on the court.
No, we're not doing. See, that's ridiculous. We can't assume anything with this group of people. It's ridiculous to assume everything's going to be okay. That's ridiculous.
No, I say everything's going to be okay. Let's say everybody plays.
That's ridiculous as well. So I'm not doing that. I'm not playing fantasy lane. I'm not. No, I'm not doing that. Because that's just not going to happen. It just isn't possible. So here's how I'll frame it. I think in the short term, it will look better for Philly. I think the will and the knowledge of particularly from James Harden organizationally of how he wants to play and how he wants to initially endear himself. This is what I would say. With every James Harden stop, the first 4 to 6 months is fairly good. It's fairly good. He's trying. So I don't expect too much bumps in the road until they lose in the playoffs. Then all the bumps will start happening at that point in time. So I think initially this flows well for Philly. Does it end in a championship? Absolutely not. Long term though, I think the basketball acumen in Brooklyn is so very high. If the human factor element of they really truly want, and that's the difference between the Heat and what we're talking about now, that they truly want to figure it out with each other. We want each other to be successful. We want this championship. Like, we really want this. Then I love the basketball action. I love the way things can potentially fit in Brooklyn for years to come. This Philly thing is 1 to 2 years, and that's it. I love what could be set up in Brooklyn. But again, it's almost impossible to diagnose this in any real type of way outside of just like if this was live and these were just automated things I could control. Outside of that, without thinking about the human element and taking in full consideration of the human element, it almost makes it impossible to predict what will happen, but those are the two places I land with it. It will look good in Philly for the short term. It'll turn out horrible. There's no doubt in my mind on that one. If the players in Brooklyn really truly want this for each other and for the team, I love how they're.
With Golden State taking full control of this series, up 3-2, this series changed rather quickly. You remember after game 3, it was Boston that was in the catbird seat, being up 2-1, coming off a 16-point, smacking of Golden State, home court, game 4 at home. And it's, again, these playoff series, it's amazing how things can change quickly within minutes. Boston has and before we even talk about game 5, you got to go back to game 4 because there was a lingering effect, a carryover effect without question. You heard Van Gundy mention it during the broadcast from game 4 that led into game 5. There's no two ways about it.
Shy, what does validation mean to you, and how is it affecting your life? What do you think about when you think about the word validation?
Well, I think that validation is very similar to like an affirmation. And so what I mean by that is it's just providing like encouragement or emotional support, or uplifting someone. But it doesn't have to always be emotional, but you're supporting someone. That's what I think validation is.
Biggest disappointment. Who won the week? We'll get to the biggest disappointment. We'll get to the biggest disappointment in terms of who won the week. So who won the week? I had the Titans and the Astros. First, we dealt with the Titans. The Titans, I feel like, have jumped back into legit AFC Championship contention. I don't think the Titans can go to the Super Bowl. Like I don't think the Titans will go to the Super Bowl. Though if they did play Kansas City in the playoffs in the AFC Championship, I couldn't exactly eliminate that, eliminate that off the table. But I think the Titans have returned back to a team that you don't, if you're Buffalo or Kansas City, especially if you're Kansas City, that you don't want to face in the playoffs. They are one of the most physical teams in the league. Derrick Henry has been spectacular. We know what the coach 12. Game of the week had to be I'm about to say the Clippers. The Chargers versus the Dolphins, 23-17. This was a physical game. This was a game that was dominated by the defenses from in terms of like just the physicality of it. But this game was really about one player and one player only, and that was Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's performance was one of the best quarterback performances of the year, to be honest with you. 39-51, 367 yards. He was just flat out. He was phenomenal. Like he was dominant in this game. Just the pocket presence, the ball placement, the leadership, making when his team needed the big pass for the big plays to be made, he made every big throw known to man. Contrary to what was happening with Tua, I don't know what's wrong with Tua right now. Really didn't know what the hell he didn't know what the hell he was doing from that standpoint. The print shop stuff, so like these fronts that they had, they could launder money, flip money, and stuff like that. They be Shrinker becomes the bank in season 3, what have you, when they an episode that in this particular episode where Lester and McNulty say he became the bank, he so insulated that he doesn't get near a package. That's all well and good, but again, having those kind of contacts, you got to know that those towers are coming down and being able to prepare and see for the future. That was a flaw that I thought about with the rewatch. So we will, for the next couple of weeks, go through some Wire at 20 reflections, especially as my rewatch continues over the course of this. I'll be done before the summer's out. The way I'm going. in terms of the rewatch. So I'm in season 4 right now. Of course, it only went 5 seasons. So again, to the greatest show of all time, without question. We'll be continuously be talking about have been looking back at the show and looking back at some things that I had noticed on a 20th rewatch that I didn't notice in the 10th on a 10th. What about these cultures between these two teams and that have been, that kind of forced this deal to be made or put themselves in a position to where they had to make a deal like this?
I mean, I think that the key word is culture, right? I don't think that either really. You got teams trying to do what's outside of what they are, right? Like Philly's always been known to be a blue collar city town with sports, politics, with everything. They're not the Heat, they're not the Lakers, but they're going for the sexy pick. I was talking to my brother-in-law who's a Sixers fan. I said the perfect fit was, we can retroactively go back, is getting Kyle Lowry from Philly, who's a born leader. That's the fit. But this thing that they're doing that hasn't been working in the NBA, of putting these super teams together, and the same thing with the Nets. I'm a Knicks insider, yes, but everybody knows that the thought was Jay-Z and Brooklyn, they were going to take over New York, and it never happened. Brooklyn still has majority of the times the big stars come, they're rooting for them over their own home team. So neither team has really established a very strong culture. It's going to be interesting because Philly's known to be workhorse, and you're bringing in someone who don't work.
Why hasn't Sissy told Franklin that Alton is dead? Why hasn't that hasn't been discussed? So I feel like we're gonna find out about that sooner than later. I think in the next couple of episodes, we should find about what's going on with that, because it seemed kind of odd that Sissy didn't have a reaction about what transpired with Alton, with Alton, and Teddy. My theory is that Sissy is protecting Franklin from himself, that she's afraid of what Franklin will do if he finds out. If he finds out that his father's been killed by Teddy Mack. She knows how dangerous Teddy Mack is. He understands the government. Like, I think that's my theory, that she's protecting Franklin from himself. I know there have been some other theories that's actually not Sissy, that she could be, Sissy could possibly be dead. That's not the case, because we saw previews for the season where Sissy was in. I saw even the trailer, the season 5 trailer, we saw a preview that had Sissy in it. So Sissy's not dead. Teddy did not kill Sissy. I think that she was protecting Franklin from himself, in essence.